I think what's exciting me about this year is the range of work. We're doing 11 productions and the mix of work we've got, with Pygmalion, with 42nd Street, with Yes Prime Minister, with The Critic and the Real Inspector Hound. There was so many rich possibilities this year, including a promenade performance of the Youth Theatre, that we've ended up with a kind of equally jam-packed season. Once again, we've got some of the greatest actors, some of the greatest directors. The main house opens with an adaptation of the famous television series Yes Prime Minister, written by the two writers who did the original series, Jonathan Lynn and Tony Jay. That's followed by our musical, which is 42nd Street this year, which is one of the great all-singing, all-dancing Broadway musicals. That plays in repertoire with Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, with a wonderful cast including Rupert Everett and Stephanie Cole. And the final piece in the main house for a normal length of run is A Month in the Country, which is directed by Jonathan Kent. But sneaking in for 2 weeks is last year's production of Enron, which does 2 weeks in the main house before embarking on a national tour. There are 5 shows in the Minerva this year, starting with Edward Bond's play Bingo, which looks at Shakespeare at the end of his life, and rather wonderfully playing Shakespeare is Patrick Stewart. That's followed by a brand new musical of the film and book Love Story, followed by The Critic and the Real Inspector Hound, a double bill of one-act plays. That plays in repertoire with The Ragged Trouser Philanthropists, which is a brand new adaptation by Howard Brenton of Robert Tressel's classic novel. And the Minerva season is finished off with The Master Builder, the Ibsen, in a brand new version by David Edgar. Well, I think Paul Kerrison is one of Britain's great creators of musical theatre. He's been directing musicals for at least 3 decades, and I've been watching much of that work. I think he'll bring both a knowledge of this stage, he's worked on it before, with a kind of great sense of what it is to create a big showbiz musical like 42nd Street. Love Story focuses around the romance of its 2 central characters. This has been conceived for a small space. It's rather cleverly been constructed by Howard Goodall, the composer, who's as much a sort of classical composer as he is a traditional musical writer. This year I'm going to be directing a double bill of one-act plays, The Critic by Richard Brinsley Sheridan and The Real Inspector Hound by Tom Stoppard. So I chose these 2 plays obviously because I think they're delightfully funny and pair well together. They're both about critics, they're both about theatre, and from different periods. They look at very similar themes. Rupert Everett is the reason that we're doing Pygmalion, in that he approached us with the idea of doing it, and I think it's a perfect part for him. He's absolutely got the right elements of class, style and wit to tackle it. I think it's always a pleasure to invite an actor back. We've got Patrick Stewart returning, Stephanie Cole returning, Michael Pennington returning after his triumph in the 2 Ronald Harwood plays last year. I like to think that from an audience's point of view, the actors are the most important thing, and being able to have a kind of long-term relationship with these people and be able to invite them back is really important for the theatre. I hope one of the things we can look forward to this year is a year of celebration. Last year, the tone of the festival was slightly darker, slightly heavier. We were, if you like, exploring the recession. And I very much wanted this year to be a sort of antidote to that.